Hey y'all! Well, we meet again. Hi there. If you're new here, my name is Janae. If you're not new, you know what we're about to do, story time. I'm not sure why. The last few times I made videos that were story time videos, I was rocking a hat, but we're just going to go with the theme. Okay, let's roll with it. Today's story time has to do with the one time that I got kicked out of a plastic surgeon's office. And have y'all ever seen the podcast called The Moth, where people will go on stage and they'll tell short stories? Like, I always wanted to tell this story on The Moth just because I think it's crazy cool and it's a real life true story. Anyway, let's get into it. So when I was 23. I'm 37 now. I'm about to be 38 on May 3rd. But when I was 23, I was working in communication sales. I was an outside sales rep. And I had told my boss at the time that I had worked my fanny off to save up $15,000 to get cellulite removal. Okay. I don't know what I was thinking. So just to give you like some statistics, I'm 5'3", and at the time I probably weighed maybe 120 to 125 pounds. And in my warped South Florida, competing with other women mentality, I thought that I needed to lose weight and I needed to get my cellulite reduced. Okay, so if you're watching this, by the way, I'm absolutely for plastic surgery. Whatever it is that makes you feel good, as long as it's not harming you or harming anybody else, do it. Look like a snack. You know, you get one time on this earth. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, boo, do it. But at the time, I was very immature and I was thinking very superficially. So I made an appointment. I'm not going to say the doctor's name. We'll just call him Dr. X for the video. And I made an appointment at Dr. X's office. And the day of my appointment, I went in. And when you go into the appointment for plastic surgery for cellulite removal, there was a room that it was a huge room, and there was a block in the center of the room, and in all the the whole entire room was lined with mirrors. Okay. So one of the nurses, she took down my information and my stats, and then the doctor came in and he said, okay, why are you here? And I said, oh, I want to, like, as soon as possible, I want to get cellulite removed. And he goes, okay. Take this black marker and I want you to draw on all the areas of your body where you think you need cellulite removal. And I was like, give me that marker, boo, I'm ready. So he leaves the room and the nurses leave the room. Now, at the time, I am not saying this to be knocking anyone, but I still don't know the marketing or if there was a coincidence behind this, but all the nurses that were in that particular doctor's office at the time were a little bit like overweight. I guess if we were to talk about their BMI, they were considered overweight. Maybe in their minds, they didn't care. Good. Whatever. But I thought that was strange. Like, there was no one in his office that was tiny, if that makes sense. So, when we were in the room, there were about 3 nurses in there, or 3 women who worked there in the room with us. And when he handed me the marker to start drawing on my body, they all left the room. And I was like, okay, well, let me tell you something, boo. You know how when you go to like certain department stores and you're trying on clothes and they just have that fluorescent lighting and like you look bleh, no matter what you try on? Well, multiply that by like 50 in this room. Okay. I don't know if they had some magical lighting where you just look immensely worse, but I was going to town with the marker, drawing all over the place, especially my legs, right? I was like, let's get this done. Now, to be fair, I was in the gym 5-6 days a week, 2 hours a day, sweating, hustling, and I wasn't seeing the kind of results that I thought I should be producing. with that kind of workout regimen, and also the diet that I was doing was catered to by a nutritionist. So I was like, what's going on, you know? So after I'm done drawing all over myself, the doctor comes back in and he politely hands me a robe and he goes, when you get dressed and see me in my office. And I was like, so y'all, I'm not kidding. I barged in the man's office and I was like, when can we do this? Here's the money. Like, I have the cash sitting in a savings account. And he looks at me and he said, did you get all the places that you think that you need surgery? I said, yes, sir. And he said, okay. He goes, I'd like to give you my professional opinion about the surgery. And I said, okay. He goes, I think you need to get the out of here. And I sat back. He goes, you need to put on your clothes. You need to get up and you need to leave. And I was like, I'm sorry. He goes, what is wrong with you? Maybe you need to go get help. Maybe you need to find a man who loves you the way you are. Maybe you need psychological help because you need to love the way you are. But either way, you need to get out of here and go do some thinking. And I was like, gathering my stuff, simultaneously depressed and then like elated because he kicked me out. And I the whole drive home, I was like, I just got kicked out. I was ready to hand the man a check and like sign up for surgery the next day. I had already requested off of work thinking that they would, like, I don't know what, I was 22, 23 at the time, and whatever age. And he was, you know, thinking they would just take me in for surgery that night or the next day. So that doctor has stuck in my brain forever because after that, I went home and I did some research and I was like, man, there are plastic surgeons around the country that would gladly take my money. And I'm talking like go and do cellulite removal for, at that time, it was such a small area, which I have since learned. And this is important for maybe some of you out there considering the surgery, that there's a difference between having like actual dimpled cellulite, right? And skin laxity, where if you've stretched and shrunk and, you know, maybe gained weight and lost weight and expanded on your skin, that skin has laxity in it. And once it, you know, comes back down, there's no fixing that, okay? Like there's all kinds of studies out there wondering whether or not cellulite removal does work, freezing your cells, heating your cells. When you're born with a certain amount of fat cells in your body, and it will be the same whether you cut them out or freeze them off. But your skin, it always comes back to the same cell count that you were born with. So thank you to Dr. X for not taking my money. And I did follow up with him on an email like a few weeks later, thanking him after I had time to process the whole thing. And he said, you know what, take that money and put in retirement. So, but because I was 22, I probably spent it on, I don't know, clothes and stupid things back then. Save your money. All right, so that was my story time for the day. If you have some funny stories, reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's exchange funny stories. And I can't wait to see y'all on my next video. Bye, y'all.